Bleav in the Arizona Cardinals, or as I guess I've been saying it wrong the whole time, Bleav in Cardinals. I like to say in the because I'm just that way. Bleav in the Arizona Cardinals. It is the Arizona Cardinals centric specific show coming from, of course, the Phoenix metropolitan area. I am one of your co-hosts. I am Javon J. Love Adams, and with me, as always, is a man who played not only professional baseball, he could steal a base or two, and he could definitely lock in and send one over the fences. He also played in the National Football League in that first Super Bowl bound team for the Atlanta Falcons. I am speaking about none other than Ed Easy Smith. What is good, my brother?
14 for 17 one year, stolen bases.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I used to get it in. I used to get that sneak attack in on that. You see that 225, 230 sitting over there at first base, think I wasn't going to go. I lull him to sleep, boy, and there I go. There you go. Yeah, got it. He will.
When you were still he will. When you were still a base, would you hold it up above your head like Ricky Henderson and then talking to third person? What Ed's gonna do is Ed says Ed's really happy about. But this is Ed's favorite time of the year, and millions of other people feel the same way as we record this. The first game of the season is already out of the way, but this is week one of the NFL season, and so we're hope for some springs eternal, and others, there's reality that sets in, and then there's also the overreaction and all that good stuff. So, of course, we talk about the Phoenix Cardinal, in the Phoenix area. We talk about the Arizona Cardinals. A few things I want to talk about: the who's going to start week one for the Cardinals. I want to talk about the naming of a player who's injured, naming of a player who's injured as a captain, and then also the Caleb Williams GQ article, as he, depending on who you believe, the Cardinals might be looking to, if they end up getting that number one pick, whether from the Texans or from themselves, to be able to, from their own lack of performance, to maybe take Caleb Williams if he comes out into the draft. And so talk about that a little bit. And then, of course, the matchup with the Commanders, as the Cardinals are going to the East Coast. They're going to be taking on the Commanders, and just some thoughts about, offense and just how you think this game is going to shake out. So let's start, of course, with the QB. Who's going to start at QB? Oftentimes, coaches like to have that stealth mentality. They want to keep everything close to the vest. You're a new coach. You don't know. You think that this is the best way to go about it. But I don't think that Jonathan Gannon really realizes that both those quarterbacks are not to be feared. Where you're talking about trying to have the options of either Clayton Tune, who's the rookie out of Houston, and drafted in the fifth round, I believe, and then also Joshua Dobbs, who's been in the league since 2017, if I'm not mistaken, and has taken, and last year were the most amount of snaps that he had in his entire season. Who do you think is going to start, and why this game of sorts when we're trying to talk about that?
Well, I think they made the announcement yesterday that Dobbs is going to be the starter.
Okay, so because I saw it come across that he actually made the announcement, because it keeps getting leaked out or rumored. So, so if that is the case, then what do you think about Joshua Dobbs starting?
I think it's asinine, to be honest with you, bro. You got to remember, this guy, although he was around Petting last year, right? In Cleveland.
Yep.
He's been here less than 2 weeks. 2 weeks to grasp this offense. And that, bro, they're going to be dudes that he's going to be looking and talking about, hey, number 25 or he's not even going to know names to a certain degree, and you're going to have him run your offense. And the same goes for Tune. I mean, he was a rookie whose head is probably swimming. We saw him out there during the preseason looking like a rookie in the preseason. So let alone now they're going to start game planning and scheming against you, and the number ones are going to be coming after you, and you're going to have a quarterback who has a total of 2 starts under his belt, backed up by a dude that has 0 starts under his belt. So if this isn't the epitome of, I'm not going to say the T word, but if this isn't the epitome of wanting to be bad and going to be bad, I don't know what it is, Jay. I've never seen anything like this in terms of, you had a veteran here, or why not go scour the waiver wire for a veteran quarterback or somebody who's had a few starts under his belt. There are so many other options out there besides, and all respect to Joshua Dobbs, and Tune. I just got to get Tune's first name. Well,
Clayton.
Clayton Tune? Yeah,
Clayton,
Clayton
man.
Tune.
Clayton.
Okay. Yeah. Mama called him Clayton. I'm going to call him Clayton. So, but yeah, no, this is going to look, in my opinion, as bad as it is being built up to be, because we have no experience. This is, Colt McCoy wasn't the best quarterback out there, but if you're trying to win games or at least be respectable as an organization,
you
either keep or go find a valid veteran, if nothing else, just to help these young kids in the room. Can you imagine, you luck up and you get a job in quantum physics, right?
Right.
And you're in this room trying to figure it out by yourself. Hey, here's a manual. Go, this is what you're supposed to do. Figure it out. Without another quantum physics guy in the room with you to help you decipher, this is how you study. This is what you're looking for. When they throw this at you, this is what they're, you can anticipate this. There's going to be none of that. There's going to be no other dude in the room with them to help these young kids out. And, Dobbs has been around for a few years. He's not a starter, though. I mean, this is going to be a calamity of errors. And do you feel bad for Gannon and Petzing, as, this is their mess that they're going to have to, put together and put out there? And I can, we might as well get ready. And here, once again, you have to go play the games. Mm-hmm. So maybe, just maybe, we just watched the game last night where everybody thought Detroit was going to get their butts whipped, and they come out.
Now, Kansas City's about to go 0-17, right?
Yeah,
and Mahomes is done. Yeah.
But as far as this, we can only talk about it to a certain point, Jay. Now we're going to get to be about it. Yeah. For the next 17, 18 weeks with a bye week mixed in there, we are going to get an opportunity to stop prognosticating to what we think the Cardinals are going to look like. Mm-hmm. We're actually going to get a chance to see it. So the long wait is over. This offseason of despair, we knew we weren't going to have our starting franchise quarterback to start out with. They've been putting this roster together. We've been, it's been just all over the place. What were they trying to do? Are they trying to tee? Are they, now we get the chance, just like everybody else, to stop trying to figure it out. We're going to get a chance to actually watch it on Sunday. These Cardinals go over to Washington, and we're going to get a chance to see what they actually look like. Yeah. So come Sunday when we do our show and then it gets laid out, my fear is that you and I are going to get lost in the weeds, bro, because as bad as it might be, nobody's going to want to hear about this mess for a while. So we're going to have to get real creative in how we present this, because it could get pretty bad moving forward.
All right, I'll try to get my marketing brain going. But is there any chance? So when you think of the history of the NFL is littered with, is sprinkled with tales of quarterbacks that were backups that saw some success as a starter. Is it possible that Joshua Dobbs could be that guy with because I would imagine before they end up maybe pulling the plug, especially if they start winning, I think they would pull the plug on them for some unforeseen reason and throw Clayton Tune in there so that they can make sure to stay in contention.
He looks too good.
In contention for that top draft pick. But is it possible that he could fare well enough to go from being his scouting report reading backup to being possible starter, bridge quarterback? I mean, is it possible?
Anything's possible. You and I are American citizens, right? We it's possible you and I could have been the president of the United States.
Yeah.
Anything is possible. I don't think I ever got anywhere close to being in that realm, and neither have you. Anything is possible. But our mantra, yes we can, right?
Yes
we can.
That is.
And my mantra is yes we can be just that bad potentially. Yes we can possibly win a couple games this year. We will see. So we'll put out our mantra as we go along through the season. It'll start out with yes we can. ... That's all I'm gonna say.
All right. All right. So Bleav in the Arizona Cardinals. You mentioned that in terms of yes, we can expect to see Kyler Murray hit the field, according to head coach Jonathan Gannon. That's what he, according to some words that he had, an exchange that he had with Cards Wire. He mentioned that he does expect him to play at some point. So that's cool, some point, and we can get into all the machinations of that. What does that mean for the team? What will the team be at record-wise when he comes back? All of that. But when last week the captains were named, Humphreys a captain, Buda Baker a captain, a couple of the linebackers captains, but one name that stuck out to me was Kyler Murray, and not because he's Kyler Murray, but because he is injured. He is on the physically unable to perform list. He's still coming back from that knee injury, from that ACL. So what does that say to you on the outside looking in, that he was named captain, and how often does something like this happen?
Never. This is all for show, bro. Here's the thing about naming captain in one, and I don't take it lightly. When I was never named the captain. I was able to go out a couple of times for coin tosses and stuff like that. But
yeah,
special games. When you start naming captains and putting a C on the chest, that is something that's for real. And the problem I have with them naming him a captain is he was going to be on for the next 4 weeks, and this is because he's on the pup. He's going to be on an entirely different schedule than his comrades and the dudes he's playing with. Right. He's got this C on his chest, right? They're not going to see him. His schedule might be, and I don't know how the Cardinals do their rehab, but guys who are on the pup or start the year on the IR and stuff like that, they might be on the schedule where we got to be in early, meaning the team, we got to be in early for meetings. Like, you got to get in, you got to get your weights in on certain days, and then first meeting is at this time, 7 o'clock, 7 to whatever it is. And then you go through your meetings, first walk through, back up to lunch, meetings, then you go out for the practice, so they got Kyler Murray's schedule might be in at 8 o'clock. I do my rehab. And this is wild, and obviously he's months into it, so maybe it's ramping up a little bit. But I've seen guys, especially with these knees and stuff, they come walking in with a sandwich, sit at the locker, have their little food, then they go do their rehab. And then when they're done, bro. They leave the facility because their day is done. Yeah. Are they going to hold him accountable where, okay, you are a franchise quarterback, even though you're on pup? Are you going to be in these meetings every day with us, game planning and doing this and preparing for Washington, preparing for week 2? If he's a captain, he should be there from the start of the day to the end of the day going through it. He, like I said, he might be on a schedule where he's done at noon, 1 o'clock. He might be on his way home to because what's he studying for? He's not studying to get the playbook to get on the field this week, even for a month, possibly longer than that, depending on where he's at in the rehab.
Right.
And then, you get to a point in the season, Jay, let's say they're 0-5, 0-4, whatever it is, creeping toward, 1-8 after the first half of the season, right? Mm-hmm. Are they really going to bring him back with no offensive line if it's that bad? And their ultimate goal is to do this. Are they really going to bring him back? This, your franchise quarterback, to get behind this with no weapons, or are we just, hey, he's still not ready, and we're just going to hold off. And so he's going to hold that captain's C on his chest all the way through the season. This is speculation. Obviously, but I'm just talking looking ahead. Right. For me, the fact that he is not out there on the field right now, there's no way you can put a C on his chest. And, he's doing everything we want him to do as our franchise quarterback. What's he doing? What have you seen him do so far? Yeah, I understand the offense. Okay. I'll see you guys later. Go home and play some, Grand Theft Auto or some Halo or whatever it is I play. I'm so over this until we actually get him on the field or get speculation. Kyler's getting close. We're gonna, until I hear any of that, bro. The C on his chest doesn't mean anything to me.
All right, Bleav in the Arizona Cardinals. Let's talk about a gentleman that in the future may have a C on his chest for the Arizona Cardinals. Talking about one Caleb Williams. He is currently the starting quarterback, one-time Heisman Trophy winner for the USC Trojans. And so he was in a GQ article, and I've been seeing him he has a national Wendy's commercial, him along with Matt Leinart. But so his dad was quoted in the article as saying that they're not so sure that he's going to be coming out this year at the end of this year. And the reason being is that, and I agree with the premise of what he's saying, though, is that essentially when you come out in the draft, you don't get a chance to go where you want to go. All this time, any player has been able to essentially choose where he's gone. Okay, I want to go to this high school. Cool, that's the high school we go to. We want to go to this college. That's college you go to, et cetera, et cetera. And now that choice or that option is now being taken away once you enter the draft, he said it would be better if he just went undrafted so that he could choose where he wants to go, because it really comes down to the organization that you go with that can either make or break your career in a lot of ways. And that especially here as it pertains to Phoenix, is that in the Phoenix or the Arizona Cardinals, is that this organization doesn't necessarily have the best track record, especially over the last 5 years or so, of having the greatest culture or making the greatest decisions. Your thoughts on the comments from that Caleb Williams GQ article and what it means to the Cardinals, and then I guess if you zoom out a little bit, what do you think what are your thoughts when it comes to the draft? Do you feel the same way, or do you feel that the draft is fine, structured the way that it is?
Well, the one thing we haven't heard yet is the comments coming directly out of Caleb Williams' mouth. It's his dad talking. I've always leaned toward, Mom, Dad, you've helped me get to this point, and thank God, you've been in my corner the whole way through. And I don't need my mom and dad doing GQ articles, though. I don't need them speaking for me, unless if this is what he's told them and they're all in agreement, then so be it. He's, at some point he's going to have to speak for himself or answer to those quotes by his dad. I'd rather be the one making the quotes myself if I'm going to have to answer to them. The draft has been around since we both been going to church lately, bro. And we talk about how from inception we had Adam and Eve out there in the garden. Yeah. I mean, that's just been the way it's been done as far as this draft. My thing is this: he's got a lot of talent. What has he done to this point, though? Yeah, I have not seen him in any national championship games. They keep talking about his talent. We'll see what he does this year. Yeah. When you can start making demands like if this is what he's making, I need to see more from you, I guess, more accomplishment.
I'll throw a couple of folks at you, and I agree with you on that, because I think it is that gray area, though. But when you think of, let's say, an Eli Manning, whose dad came out and said he's not playing for no San Diego. We want him to go somewhere else, and so he goes to the Giants and ends up winning a couple of Super Bowl trophies. Then you have the most classic one is the John Elway, where he says, "I'm not going to play for no Colts. I'm not playing for no Colts," and then he ends up going. And this is a decade later that he ends up winning a championship for the Broncos. But so it's a small sample size, but there are those, and they had never won any national championships as well, to be able to give them the cachet or the leverage to say, this is what I ain't gonna do, dog. What do you think about that?
I totally agree with you. The names you tossed out there, the one like with Elway, he had baseball as well, though.
This is true. This is true.
Backup thing, and then you talk about Manning. The name Manning. They carry weight. His brother had been in the league, and you look what they've done, even with Arch Manning. They're at a different level. I don't take anything away from Caleb. If this is how you want to roll, my thing is, be careful what you're trying to do, because the leverage that you think you have, I know he's got NIL money and stuff like that. And hey, I want it to come out now. So you stunt your growth a year as far as getting to the professional level. And then what happens? You come back and the Cardinals are just as bad the following year, and you're still staring them in the eye. What are you going to do? You're going to go play in the CFL or something like that? Yeah. I mean, at some point, and the fact, I just be careful, what stance you're trying to take. The draft has been around. Like I said, this is how they do it. If they're ever going to come up with a different way to do it, and your stance forces them to, all hail Caleb. But I don't think, if you decide not to come out, whoever's going to be waiting. Here's the thing. If it's not the Cardinals, it's going to be whoever else is the worst team in that position next year. It's not like next year something's going to change. So instead of going to the Cardinals, you go to XYZ bad team.
It's not one of those situations, and this is, I know it's switching sports, but the Lakers, when the Lakers drafted Magic Johnson and when they drafted James Worthy, they weren't the worst teams in the league. They weren't one of the worst teams in the league. And so they had pulled off a trade to be able to make that happen. So he ended up going to a team that was already good. You just happened to be the number one pick. And the same thing kind of happened with Larry Bird when he came out as well. So so there's a lot of validity to what you're saying there. So it's something to keep an eye on. That it's gonna, we're gonna be the epicenter here, the football in the professional football world for at least the next year for different reasons, not necessarily for winning, but for lack of for all the wrong reasons. So let's get to some of these the right reasons for this upcoming week one. Bleav in the Arizona Cardinals. The Cardinals are going to play the Commanders. Speaking of Magic Johnson, who was one of the owners of that group, so maybe they'll become one of my favorite teams. I doubt it. But so let's get into a couple of things that come to mind with this. The first thing that comes to mind is, where will the Cardinals offense come from? We know that Joshua Dobbs is going to be the starting quarterback. There, the Connor is going to be in terms of the starting running back. Marquise, because you don't like to say Hollywood.
Mom named him Marquise. I'm calling Marquise.
He's going to be he's on the injury report right now, so he's not necessarily guaranteed to start this week. Where's this offense coming from? I think the Commanders are favored by 7, and the over under for points is 38. So where would the offense come from the Arizona Cardinals this week?
I have no idea. You know how I am about all starts up front, right?
Yeah.
I mean, offensive line, in my opinion, is going to struggle. It's for me. It's
going to have a rookie
matchup
on that offensive line too.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be trial by fire for this offensive line, for our quarterback, here's the thing, what fans don't understand, well, he'll grow, you got a young quarterback, all he's got to get out there is just run the plays, No, you're in charge of so much, and you're putting so much on the quarterback. You got to go to the line, you got to identify the fronts. Are we in the right play? Because we've got a run play called, and they're in this run-stopping defense with what you think they're going to do. We don't have any threats on the outside. We don't have a great running game. They're going to stack the box. So he's going to be looking at 8, 9 in the box, forcing him to get into the right protections for one, not just get out of a play, but now you got to, and all this is happening within 30 seconds or so. So you got to get out of this play, get him into the right play, then get the protection with an offensive line that is skeptical at that, and then and all this craziness going on. You got to read then the snap of the ball. You got to read what happens after the snap of the ball, and it's all going to be wash, rinse, repeat for an afternoon of football. And you're asking me where the offense is going to come, and I know you got another question. I can't wait to answer as well.
Yeah,
I'll let you get into that one, but where is the offense going to come, bro? I have no idea. I don't think they know where it's going to come from.
And what's interesting, and you mentioned this, and again, I know it's on high school when I'm talking about this, but I was at my son's football game last Friday, sitting under the Friday night lights, and my son's squad, his quarterback he was doing just little 3-step drops, and by the time he was in step 2, they was already on his behind. And if you can't, and then what happens is, as the game progresses, you stop looking for the people running the routes. You just already knowing somebody's going to be in your lap. So I got to run now, or I got to start to at least get into that fetal position because they already coming to get me. And that starts to eat away at you. And that's just after a quarter and a half. I mean, a half or 3 quarters. You do that for 3 or 4 games. Man, I ain't tripping on somebody's depth. I'm trying to throw it. I know it was a 5-step drop. I'm throwing it like it was a 3 because I just can't do it right now.
What we always talk about here, Jay. Let's make sure, and I think we got a new coordinator and everything like that. Let's be balanced.
Yes.
This is if ever there was an offense, let's revert to throwing the ball. This might be a game where Dobbs throws the ball 15 times. and you run it 35, 40 times. That should be what they do. If at the end of this Sunday, we look and Dobbs has dropped back 40 times, and I know you might be fighting to try to come back from deficit or whatever, but no, the right out the box, this should be ground and pound. Let's see how much we can take off his shoulder. Let's make them stop the run and throw it when we have to. And if ever I saw a game where dude has been in offense for less than 2 weeks, just got here, this would be a game where at the end of it, if he's 12 for 20, I think that's a good game plan. If he's out there throwing the ball all over the place, man, I wish I could have picked up Washington's defense for one of my fantasy teams, because this might be one of those.
You are such a hater.
Even though Washington's not a good defense overall, this might be the game that you pick them to shine, But yeah, where's the offense will come from, Jay? I don't know.
What will you be looking for from the coaches for the Arizona Cardinals? This is Jonathan Gannon. This is, when you got Petzing, all of these coaches that are the head of their position group. I mean, their offense, defense, special teams. This is their first time being in that particular role at this particular juncture of their careers. What are you expecting from the coaches from the Arizona Cardinals?
What I hope to see, Jay, is calm. Even though the house might be burning down around us, and it looks, I want everybody calm the F down. Just, I don't need everybody over there, frantically trying to figure. No, hey, this is I want to see those guys, and it's their first opportunities. And I can only imagine. I've been, I did a little coaching at one point before my back went out years and years ago with Coach D over at Phoenix College. And I remember that first time up in the booth, and I'd never been there before. And I was, this is just at a JUCO level. I'm just like, oh my God, and I can only imagine how, tense it's going to be for this group. Gannon, to have these guys, hopefully they're prepared when things are going crazy around them. Calm. Let's have a game plan. The game plan should be, let's try to make things as simple as possible. If we get out there and all of a sudden, like I said, they want to drop back 35, 40 times, that lets me know that they're not thinking right. This should be as simple as possible. Our roster is not built that we can go out there and even just match up with a Washington team. We're talking about a Washington team that's not expected to even be much in their division, but they might look like world beaters because they're playing against what we're going to be throwing out there. And like I said, I hope they prove us wrong. And now, once we see it, then we can objectively say now we'll have a better idea next week. I'm just going off of what I'm thinking it might look like, and it's not going to look good. So coaching staff, I hope they're calm. Hey, we're not burning our timeouts, all three of them in the first quarter.
Flashbacks.
Off. It could look bad. I hope everybody just stays calm, bro.
And I'll add one thing to what you're saying there. It's not just staying calm and maybe not exploding on your team, but it's also the look on your face too, because your eyes tell the story. So oftentimes Cliff will be calm on the sidelines. I mean, his demeanor, he wasn't jumping around, but if you looked at his eyes, it was a deer in the headlights oftentimes. So you have to, even if you are thinking, I don't know what the hell I'm doing right now, what am I supposed to do? You better have because the camera will catch it, the photographers will catch it, and then the team, the players will see it at some point and say, he don't even know, he don't even Bleav. And that's going to be a big thing. Wait until even with your coaching staff, you better remain calm. When you get home, you can go ahead and cry in the car. You can cry in the car. You can do that, but don't do it around nobody, because you are the leader, and you have to. Right now, that's what they're looking for, is for that steadying force.
Yeah, and there was something that was just in my head too, and just popped out as far as, golly, I can't remember if it pops back in, but it was along the same line as what you were just talking about. Just you mentioned how Cliff, you could look and just see how he was over on the sideline with them hands, and Brother Early used to always talk about the papers were shaking, and you could just tell it was just a little too much for him. And I hope they just, come out, and because it is going to be bumpy, I think, right out the box, but hopefully they're not overwhelmed, and hopefully it looks like they are heading in the right direction. But there could be some spots. There'll be some spots for sure.
Couple quick hitters before I get your thoughts on where before you head out of here and get your thoughts on who you think is going to win this game. I don't think I'll be surprised by who I think you think is going to win this game. But new ownership for the Commanders, new pressure for the Commanders coaching staff and players. I heard they said, I think it was Magic said something about it. Say, hey, Magic, because everybody thinks Magic is just really happy-go-lucky. Magic is a killer. Magic is a hardcore businessman. Magic was a killer on the court. Magic would throw a basketball at your face and hit you in the face just to make sure that you understand, keep your hands up when I got the ball in my hands. So he's a killer. So you think he's happy-go-lucky just because he smiles all the time. He's smiling and cut your throat. But Magic said, well, no, man, we got to see how this coaching staff performs. So there's pressure on this coaching staff and these players as well. How do you think that mixes with how Bieniemy might end up coming out at his debut with a new team? So the pressure from the new ownership group, and what do you expect from Bieniemy?
We haven't heard much about after that first initial, and I think what happened was Rivera, he just let too much out of the room. Meaning, I think it was bigger. It was made to be more than it actually was. It's gotten pretty quiet over there after the initial. He's being too hard or something like that. That's just his style. But he's coming into a losing atmosphere, trying to create change. So maybe he did come in kicking the door down. It's gotten pretty quiet over there. And from what I've heard, and I've talked to a couple of different spots from over there in Washington. They have some confidence in this Sam Howell and what's being done. We'll see. It looks like they have a plan. I think they got the perfect jump off though in terms of first opponent to get them some confidence over there. We might be, I think throughout this season, there are going to be a whole lot of teams that are thinking, wow, we got a bye week coming up. And wait a minute, no, we play the Cardinals next week. Yeah, we got a bye week coming up.
Man, then the pressure starts to mount. You don't be the team.
You can't
be the team that loses too. And that you don't want to be that squad that you are defined as, oh man, we just didn't want to lose to y'all.
Yeah.
So all right. So let's end it with this then. How do you see this game playing out? How do you see this? Who do you think? I assume that you think that the Commanders will win. I know I do. How do you see this playing out? Maybe a score if you want to.
Yeah, I'm surprised that they actually have this. I think we're a 7-point dog in this one.
Yep.
This is not going to be pretty. So the good thing is it's an early game. It's going to be mixed in to a bunch of the other stuff. So it's almost like cilantro, sometimes overpowers a meal if you got too much in there. It's like just, they mix it up.
Mix it up. Goodness.
So this one will get lost in the sauce right here.
Yeah.
But I don't expect this to be a competitive game in the second half with our quarterback situation, with our rookie head coach and staff and everything. And quite honestly, Washington, this is the perfect opponent, in my opinion, for them to come out, get some confidence. They'll probably look really good. Where's the pressure going to come from our defensive front? Where's our, lockdown corners to stop them from throwing the ball over the place? What pressure are we going to put on their front? I'll give you, this is 24-9. I think
I was thinking 24-10. I was thinking 24-10.
Yeah. You got them scoring a touchdown?
Yeah,
okay.
Man. Yeah,
I got 3 field goals. Or maybe you got them with a field goal and a touchdown, but they missed the extra point. Okay, so they get 9, something like that. So yeah, this is 24-9 to me, something like that. Yeah.
All right. That's how we do it. So we will bring you the next episode on you'll get it on Monday. We'll record it right after We'll probably put it up right after as well, but record it in the Sunday evening and get it out to you Monday. It'll be waiting for you in your inbox. So again, this is Bleav in Cardinals, or Bleav in the Arizona Cardinals. Make sure you tell a friend to tell a friend about what we have going on here. Again, we do this now moving forward twice a week on Mondays and on Thursdays. I'll be giving this to you late just because, life happens sometimes. That's how we do it. But it's in your box now. So now you energized and ready. And if you want, you can always check Easy and I out on Saturdays from 1 to 3 Eastern on sportsmapradio.com. Sportsmapradio.com. We have our show as well. But until next time, make sure you tell a friend what we got going on. And as we always like to say around this time, you can